So let's talk about generative AI. I know, it feels like it's everywhere. But this isn't just another buzzword. It's a truly revolutionary force that is fundamentally rewriting the rules for human resources. And honestly, nowhere is that change more dramatic than in recruitment. So let's dive in and see how your next recruiter might just be an algorithm. Here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll start big, looking at AI's new role as your HR assistant. Then we'll zoom right into the recruitment process itself. After that, we'll hit pause and look at a pretty big cautionary tale before pulling back out to talk about the absolutely critical role of ethics. And finally, we'll look at what this future of a human AI partnership really looks like. All right, first things first, we have to wrap our heads around a really fundamental shift in thinking. For a long time, tech and HR was about automation, just getting machines to do repetitive tasks. But now we're talking about augmentation, where technology actually enhances our own intelligence and our own creativity. So I want you to just imagine this for a second. What if you had an HR co-pilot? Not a tool that's trying to replace you, but something that sits right there beside you handling all the tedious work so you can focus on the stuff that's truly human. Strategy, making connections, and real insight. And that's exactly this idea of a virtual HR assistant. It's there to help you brainstorm, to draft materials, to pull together information, freeing you up for what actually matters. It's really less about replacing your judgment and way more about amplifying your capabilities. This slide right here, this really gets to the heart of the whole revolution. Think about it. Traditional AI is kind of like a super smart analyst. It looks at the data you already have and tells you what it sees. But generative AI, whoa, that's a creator. It doesn't just analyze what's there, it builds something totally new from scratch, a job description, an onboarding plan, you name it. That is a massive leap forward. And this quote just absolutely nails the core theme for our whole discussion today. AI creates and humans curate. See, it's not about the machine taking over. It's about this incredibly powerful partnership where the tech gives you a fantastic starting point, but a human provides that final, essential, nuanced touch. Okay, so that's the big idea, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's zoom right into recruitment because it is the perfect case study. This transformation is happening there at an incredible speed. Generative AI is touching pretty much every single stage of the hiring pipeline. We're talking from the very first step of just writing a job description all the way to screening candidates, helping prep for interviews, and even communicating offers. The entire workflow is being reimagined. Just take a look at this classic example, writing a job description. We've all been there, right? It can take hours to get it right. And even then, the tone can be all over the place from one posting to the next. Now look at the with Gen AI column, a professional, inclusive draft in just a few minutes. That's not just saving time, it's creating quality and consistency right from the very first moment a candidate interacts with your company. And then, there's the giant, terrifying pile of resumes. Sifting through all that manually is not just slow, it is a minefield for our own unconscious biases. Our brains are wired to see patterns, and sometimes that works against fairness. But in AI, it can be programmed to ignore those things and focus only on what matters, the skills you actually need for the job. It's a powerful way to level the playing field right from the get-go. And this efficiency just keeps going right into the interview stage. Think about how AI can help a manager come up with structured behavioral questions that are actually tied to the job's core needs, instead of just making them up on the fly. And on the back end, automating communication, that isn't just about speed. It's about treating every single candidate with respect by keeping them in the loop. That's a huge win for your employer brand. This slide shows you exactly how that human-AI partnership works. Step 1, the human sets the direction with a clear, smart prompt. Step 2, the AI does all the heavy lifting and creates the draft. But Step 3 is the most important part. The HR professional is the final curator, making sure the output isn't just correct, but that it actually reflects the company's unique culture and values. The human is always in control. But, of course, with all this power comes a ton of responsibility. And it is absolutely essential that we look at what happens when things go wrong. Which brings us to a very famous cautionary tale from Amazon. So back in 2018, the goal seemed pretty simple. Build an AI tool to spot top talent by analyzing past hiring data. The problem? Well, the past data itself was biased. You see, the AI didn't invent a new bias. It just learned a very old one from us. So what did this actually look like? It was pretty bad. The AI actively penalized resumes that had words like women's, like in Women's Chess Club Captain. It downgraded graduates from 2 all-women's colleges. It was systematically replicating a historical bias that was baked into the 10 years of data it was trained on.
Now, to their credit, Amazon scrapped the tool. But the lesson for all of us is so profound and so simple. An AI is just a mirror. If you feed it a biased past, it will create a biased future. Period.
And this is exactly why the conversation can't just be about speed and efficiency. We have to talk about ethics and about the totally non-negotiable role that humans have to play in building fair and trustworthy systems. So where does this bias even come from? Well, it's helpful to think of 3 main entry points. First, you've got data bias. That's what we saw with Amazon. Then you can have design bias, where the algorithm itself is accidentally flawed. But the third one is on us. It's decision bias. That's what happens when we get a little lazy and start to over-rely on what the AI spits out, and we turn off our own critical thinking. That one is subtle, but it is incredibly dangerous. So to fight these biases, we need a really clear ethical framework. And the first pillar has to be fairness. This is the bedrock. It's non-negotiable. It means we have to actively build and test our AI systems to make sure they treat every single person equitably, without any discrimination. The second pillar is transparency. I mean, people have a right to know when a machine is influencing major decisions about their career. This isn't about giving away the secret sauce. It's about building trust by being open and honest about the role technology is playing in the process. And finally, accountability. This one might be the most important of all. An AI can assist, it can recommend, but a human being must always be responsible for the final call. You can't blame the algorithm. Human oversight is, and it has to be, absolutely non-negotiable. And this quote just sums it all up, doesn't it? This simple idea should be the cornerstone for any AI project in HR. What the technology is capable of must always be measured against our human values and our ethics. So after all that, where does this leave us? Well, it leads us to a future that's defined not by replacement, but by a really sophisticated and responsible partnership between technology and our own humanity. You know, the HR leaders of tomorrow won't be the ones who try to resist this technology. They're going to be the ones who master it, the ones who learn how to skillfully blend the incredible efficiency of AI with the completely irreplaceable value of authentic human connection. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a simple but really powerful question to use as a filter for every single AI-assisted decision to make. Just ask yourself this: would this decision still be fair if a human made it? If the answer is even a hesitant no or I'm not sure, then that's your signal to stop, to review the process, and to put your own human judgment firmly back in the driver's seat.